and welcome to the Fat Squirrel Speaks. Today is Friday, December 11th, and this is episode 285. I am Amy Beth. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Fat Squirrel on Ravelry and the Fat SQRRL on Instagram. This is Gus. He answers to nothing except snacks. And the reason it's up here is because I brought you a muffin to share. And he smelled it. So he's like, Mom, there's wool and a muffin. And so therefore Gus really needs to be a part of this. So yeah, I brought you this muffin to share over coffee. And like, look at how pretty it is, right? It's a very attractive little muffin. Sorry, Gus, I really don't mean to torment you. Guess who forgot to put sugar in her muffins? So, thanks for coming over. Here's a muffin without sugar in it. But you know what? It's crazy. Okay, it tastes pretty good. Like, I really had to think, like, I mean, I could tell that there wasn't sugar in it, like, because it didn't. But it seemed like the texture was, like, surprisingly okay. Like, again, like, they didn't get quite as browned as normal, which that makes sense, because sugar browns. But, like, structurally, they were very okay. And, in fact, when I put them in the pan, they didn't seem at all, like, wet. I mean, it's kind of like it's definitely a drier batter. The recipe that I use, it feels almost like, it's definitely not like a cookie, but it's definitely like a more solid, substantial muffin when you put it in the pan. But the great thing is, and the reason I would not just like say, well, those are no dog treats, is that, guess what? You can totally put jam on them. And then it's like an extra fruity delight. And I didn't have time to do it, but I think I should just make some extra like blueberry syrup or something. And wouldn't that be a treat? That would be a treat. I should make blueberry syrup and then we could toast them and have them like blueberry muffin pancakes. Oh my goodness, we should do that. Okay, after we're done talking, we'll do that. So thanks for coming over. It's early, so I'm having coffee, but you can have whatever you like. I tried to do a DIY David's Tea Candy Cane Crush. I don't think I have it right yet. I need to get some peppermint tea. Gus, no, stop begging. His new begging is this. He just sits up. He sits pretty, so he sits up on his butt and just does this. The thing is, like, that means anything from, like, I want to go outside, to I want to cuddle, to I want snacks. Like, we really need to work. Yeah, no, I see you. But it's not working. Because I know you just went outside. And you can't. Okay, you can have a little bit of muffin. Just a little bit. Anyway. There's more in the kitchen, don't worry. He's probably already snorkeled it. You don't want that one. What were we talking about? Oh. So I tried to DIY some David's Tea Candy Cane Crush. Because they found like the little miniature white chocolate chips and like I just like cut up a candy cane. But I do need to get some peppermint tea because it's definitely not minty enough. But I feel like I'm on the path. Because I was afraid the chocolate chips would, like the miniature white chocolate chips would melt, but they melt instantly, like no problems. And even the candy cane melts really fast. What? So it totally works. But I do need some peppermint tea, I think. I might just buy some like peppermint tea and tea bags and just cut them open. Because I don't drink peppermint tea, so I don't want to buy like an 8-ounce thing of loose leaf peppermint because like, hi, that's a lot. But I think we're close. Until then, I do still have some, so you can have some of the real stuff. And also I still have some sweet potato. It's very delicious. Don't look at me like that, Gus. He's like, where's the jam for this? This doesn't have sugar in it, Mom. He's totally not eating it. I'm offended, Gus. Sometimes he likes to make sure Annie knows that he got a treat before he eats it. He's such a jerk. So anyway, thanks for coming to visit. The table is full, y'all. I mean, it's not completely full of knitting. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. But it's full of something. The house is full of everything. I definitely had a freak out since we talked last where I did a big purge because, okay, you did eat it and you liked it. Okay. Getting a little offended because, I mean, I knew they were good, but one likes to have a little bit of confirmation. I haven't done like a personal like clothing purge in quite some time. Cause I feel like sometimes like when I just hold on to things for a while, like it helps me to not get new things. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm like being reminded of past indiscretions in purchasing sometimes helps me to be like, don't buy more stuff. But I just kind of got freaked out. Actually, what happened is putting clean underwear in my underwear drawer. By the way, the hand-me-down, what is that called? Chest of drawers that I use is from at least the 50s, I think. And it's like in a closet, so it's not like anybody sees it or anything. And I may have like hulked off the front of the drawer. And that's when I may have realized that I had too many underpants in that drawer. Because I was definitely holding on to too many underpants. And really, like, that's such a goofy thing. Because, like, hi, I no longer have a uterus. So, like, I can just get rid of a bunch of underpants that, like, I don't have to have, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to have, like, menstrual underpants, like, lurking in the back, like, for backups. Like, I could just, like, purge all those. And also, like, just, you know, like, just whatever. I just purged a bunch of things. Not just underpants. It was good. Do you see me thinking about whether or not I should edit that part out? Whatever. We're just talking. Come on, let's go. Anyway, this podcast will have some shenanigans. It will have some quilting, some spinning talk, but not really spinning to show because it's on the bobbin. It will have some knitting. It will have some shameless self-promotion. It will have, some projects of the future. It will have a tiny bit of board gaming. Just that stuff. So, shenanigans-wise, so Black Friday in the States, which is the Friday after our U.S. Thanksgiving, we decided that we would go to do this hike that is in Richmond, Indiana, which is about an hour east of us. It's a town that's on the Indiana-Ohio border. Honey, I don't want to play fetch. I'm talking to people. I know. And it's been on the radar for a while, but we don't usually have a reason to kind of go that way, and I wasn't sure if it would be worth. So anyway, whatever. We went and took that hike. And the reason we did it was hike. We went and took that walk. And it was like supposed to be a fossil walk. It's supposed to be a great place to find fossils. And fossils of like ocean fossils, 435 million year old fossils, right? So it has like brachiopods, and those are like the Reese cup ones. I like to call them Reese cups because they're like ridgy. It has like corals and bivalves and is it called Bryozoa? I don't know. I think that's called. Anyway, it has like oceany kind of fossils. And so I was a little bit nervous because I thought, oh, you know, are they going to be really hard to find? Are we going to have to get real mucky to find them? But whatever. We thought, heck, we're just going to give it a try. So we drove out there, and I was also concerned because, of course, we're worried, you know, I was like, oh, is it going to be crowded? Is there going to be a lot of folks out there? And we saw no one until we were actually like almost ready to leave. And then it was amazing. Like there were so many fossils. It was actually a wide paved path. It's actually a bike trail too, which I didn't realize. And it's totally accessible for folks. Like if you had balance issues or anything, like you had little kids, if you have strollers, whatever, you totally take anybody you needed to. It's called the Whitewater Gorge. Yeah, I think that's what it is. And in fact, like the Earlham College, which is a Quaker college, which by the way was founded in like 18 something, which I didn't realize. How cool is that? They have like you can get like if you have little folks or big folks, you can get like a fossil passport where you can, like, if you collect a specimen of each of the 5 main types of fossil and take it in, you can get your little passport stamped. If it's not COVID times and they're not closed. But anyway, so it's great for all sorts of folks, and there are a kabillion. Now, we did at one point go down to the Whitewater, to the river, just out of curiosity, but like even just along the paved path, just from like, and by the way, like it's late fall, like all the tree leaves are down and like complete leaf cover. It had just rained, so there was wet leaf cover. So it's not even like leaves were blowing around and like showing us what was underneath of them. And we didn't like dig or like get mucky or anything. And there were just tons of fossils just that you could see like as you were walking along the path. Like tons. Like you just, and in fact one of the parking lots, like they've marked the trail like where the best places are to find fossils, and I would say that was accurate. Like one of the best places to find the fossils is within like a quarter of a mile of a parking lot. It was so fun. I was a little bit afraid that it would be like discouraging and we'd have to really hunt for things. Gus, I know, but I'm doing this. And we'd really have to hunt for things. It was so fun. I mean, it was a little ridiculous because we definitely came home with like a few more rocks than is reasonable, and like, because that's definitely what we need in our very small home, but whatever. There's always room for rocks in the garden, I guess. It was so fun. So we did that. And what else have we done? That was the main thing. That was very fun. Oh, we played several board games. One of the plays, oh, and then I did Board Game Arena for the first time. That was really fun as an online board gaming experience. And I played Welcome to, which is like a role. I think it's a broad category of like roll and write. So think like of Yahtzee is like the big daddy of roll and writes, like, but it's not really dice. So it's not really a roll and write. It's called like a flip and write or something like that. But it's where you get to have your own little scorecard and write things down. But it's all online. But anyway, the interface was really easy to work with, and it was I enjoyed that a lot. Are you on Board Game Arena? We should be friends. Let's play a board game together. Would you like to? I'm going to change my name. Right now I'm Fat Squirrel, but because I felt like it was kind of egotistical to call myself the Fat Squirrel there, because it's like not my realm of familiarity. This is literally what went through my head when I was picking out my username. Oh, what's wrong with me? So I need to change it to the Fat Squirrel, but right now I'm just Fat Squirrel. But yeah, we should play a board game if you want to. FYIs, I'm not good at board games. I just like to play board games. But it was very enjoyable. But Tove and I have been playing Caverna. We've played, what have we played? We played Quacks of Quedlinburg, which is a push your luck bag building game, which is like you're building a potion bag and you're pulling out ingredients. Okay, we really enjoyed that game. I would say that one has stayed the test of time so far for us in terms of like we've been playing it for like a year-ish and it's still enjoyable. And you have like a bag of potion ingredients that you are continuously choosing ingredients to add to, and you push your luck. I am really bad at push your luck games. I'm really risk averse. So I either tend to be like just ridiculous and just like take way too many chances, or take none. I can't find the middle ground at all. But I enjoy this one. I like it quite a lot. Stop it. I know the muffin is still there, but you can't have it. Anyway, so, but we've really enjoyed that one. But anyway, so we were also playing, though, Caverna, which we've had for a while, but hadn't really played. And so this, much like Agricola, so there's Agricola, all creatures, big and small, or whatever, there's like a 2-person player game of Agricola. And so this is Caverna, which is the 2-player version of the big game of Caverna. And we've really enjoyed it. We've played it probably 4 times. Is it a game that we'll play for years to come? 100 times a year? No. But we really enjoyed it, and I think it's a pretty decent price point. Again, it's Caverna Cave versus Cave. You're basically cave farmers. That's right. And you... So you have like a cave, and you're excavating rooms in your cave, and then you're decorating them. So like you're turning those rooms into rooms that do stuff for you. They gain you goods, they turn the goods into other stuff. And so it's definitely, it's a worker placement. It's highly enjoyable. Just a nice little lighter worker placement for 2 players. We've found it quite enjoyable. There is an expansion. The expansion is interesting because it doesn't add, like the expansion for Agricola, all creatures great and small, or whatever it is, adds like lots of buildings that you can do. You can add to your little farming community. And what this one does is actually adds the Iron Age. So it adds extra rounds to your game, and you add weapons and things like that. So that's kind of an interesting. We have not played the expansion. I just know that it's out there. But we've enjoyed that. Again, if you just have, if your bubble is just your household, which is what ours is, and you're looking for 2-player things, I've enjoyed it. Again, it's Caverna Cave versus Cave. It's for 2 players. Ooh, sorry, that was very loud. The recommended ages are 12 and up. I mean, I would say 10 and up if your kid is a board game kid. What is that? 20 to 40 minutes? I guess that's what that means. I would say that's probably pretty accurate. Oh, you can play it as a solo. So sorry. Yes, you can play it as a solo. And the other game I talked about, Welcome To, you can also get that in a hard copy. And that's one that you can definitely play over like Zoom or like over whatever facey-face app talk time thing you're doing. If you can mail the like score sheets to your friends or family. So you could totally mail out score sheets to your friends or family, and then like you could just MC the game from your house. Right. If you don't want to, but you could also do it virtually, and you can play that with like, it's like one of those 1 to 99 players. The rule set is a little bit more, it's a little bit more advanced, but the nice thing about the online version is it does kind of guide you through. Well, it doesn't really guide you through, but it will only let you do things that are allowed. How's that? Okay, so then let's talk about, spinning, I don't have anything to show you, but last year I did a spinning advent from Knit Spin Farm, and she did a bat spinning advent, which it's the first time I've done a spinning advent, and I really enjoyed it. Not only did I enjoy what Joanna put together, which was really awesome, I enjoyed my finished object of spinning, which I loved, but I also really loved spinning every day through December. And so this year I did not purchase a spinning advent calendar, but I did have Into the World for Virtual Rhinebeck had their bags of bits and bobs. Now, do I have plenty of fiber in this house? Yes, I do. But I kind of wanted Tova to put my Advent together for me, and it felt like maybe too much of an ask to give her, like, for example, like a Hello Yarn patchwork kit and just be like, could you just like divide this up into like 1/2 ounce bumps and put them in a bag for me? That seemed a little bit crazy. So I purchased some Into the World bits and bobs, and then I requested that Tova break to, because what they do is, I'm just going to show you. I'm going to forget. This is 19. That's like 8 days from now. I'll definitely forget what these are. They come in these like little tight balls of spinning fiber. So I just asked her to lay them all out and then put them, break them up into about 1/2 ounce a day. And so then she just put them in a little miniature paper bag for me. And then I have my little spinning Advents. Right. And so I have really enjoyed that. Excuse me. And so then maybe next year, or maybe, you know what I could do? I could totally just do it this year, and by next year I would have forgotten. Maybe I could do that. I don't know. Wouldn't that be fun? I could totally do it this year, though. Maybe I should do that like on January 1st, make up my spinning Advent for next year as a gift to my future self. I don't know. That's a kind of a fun idea. Should we do that together? That'd be kind of fun. Maybe we should do that. Should we do that? That'd be cute. Anyway, I highly recommend. Maybe you could just do like your 12 days. Or maybe you could just do like a week between, or just like January. Because quite frankly, this is the most spinning I've done in quite some time. And what I clearly need to do is put all of my fiber in tiny paper bags so that I will spin 1/2 ounce a day. Because that's clearly what I need to do. So speaking of solstice-y wintry goodness, I just wanted to show you one thing. I have not made any ornaments this year at all. Not for a lack of holiday cheer, just for I just haven't for some reason. But I did want to show you. Last year I did some Dehydrated Citrus, and for some reason this is the only one that I put in the bin for this year. What it was is I put them on an oven rack to dehydrate them, and a lot of them got kind of charred where they were touching the rack. So this year I'm going to redo them, but just do them on the oven sheets and not do the rack. But I did want to show you that this held up beautifully from last year. So I'm really excited. I'm going to do a bunch of these again this year, and either do a garland or just do some more ornaments, because they held up really well. I'm super excited about them. My idea that I talked about last time that I had didn't work out. I remember when I told you, I was like, I have this idea about how I could scratch my white house itch. It didn't work. It was a kind of an epic fail. But that is okay. Because in doing it, I actually kind of scratched my white house candle itch. So that was great. I'm actually totally satisfied. But I did want to show you that because I didn't think they would actually hold up. I was just surprised that they held up from year to year. So, and I'm just going to gaze at it lovingly because it's quite beautiful. And I would really love to just put some garlandy together and hang them in the windows because they are quite nice. Anyway, of course, and wouldn't you know it, like I have the worst luck buying regular oranges and them tasting good. So I did a practice orange just to see if doing it not on the metal rack in the regular oven would work. It does. Wouldn't you know, that orange that I cut up was so delicious. That I cut up for the garland. Are you kidding me? Never do I buy an orange that's delicious. The one that I buy specifically to dry out, so yummy. Because I ate the ends of it. Whatever. Wouldn't you know? Excuse me. Okay, so then let's talk about quilting. Because because that's kind of the next thing we're going to talk about, apparently. I'm like, I have a giant list of things to talk about. Am I talking about any of them? I am, actually. Look at me. Oh, I didn't talk about that. I took a zine making workshop, which was really good, but let me just discuss. No, let's not talk about that. It was so good, but it totally made me cry. What is up? I tell you what. I don't know why I felt like I needed to talk about it. Why did I write that down? Sometimes I write things down and I need to just like put a highlight around it. Like, hey, you're writing this down, and you're thinking that you need to talk about it, but really you're just actually making a small journal entry. Like, you need to journal. This is not your journal. This is the show notes for the podcast. And in fact, this is something you need to write a journal about, because you're crying during a zine class because clearly you're having some like creativity issues that you need to express in a journal. Therefore, you don't need to talk to other people about it. You need to work on that. So that's not what I wrote down. It was just me writing down that, like, I just saw these people being creative and it totally made me, like, moved me emotionally. And then I was all like, what do I need to do with myself? I need to be more creative. And then what does that look? Just to write a journal entry, yo. just write that to myself. Will this be the year that I make a journal? I really should. Really? Write a journal entry, yo. Period. I've got the Artist's Way upstairs. I just was like, felt so moved. Like, I needed to write bad poetry again. Like, I was just transported into like my high school self. And like, I just felt like I needed to write a poetry zine. And then I was like, who do I write this poetry zine for? Is there an audience? Does this tree make a sound when it falls in the woods? What? Do I just find a bunch of other old ladies and we just circulate our poetry zines amongst ourselves? Like, what is the place of creativity in this bizarro world that we live in, where like our social groups, like, I mean, like maybe like in my tribal group, I would have like had a voice in storytelling. I mean, like, bless your hearts. Thank you for listening to my stories. But like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe like in like my tribal group of like 40 to 50 people that like my brain was actually like grown to work within, like I could have like, you know, put my handprint on the cave wall and like told a story about the bison and it would have been valued and important. But like now I need to write a poem about like my wool husband. He's right. I'm not really neat. I mean, I could totally write a poem about my wool husband. But like, nobody needs to hear that, because there are actually like brilliant creators out there making beautiful and creative stuff. But at the same time, I guess that whole thing about like how we just have, again, like when we create a society in which we all have like such super specializations, like that means that we only can do one thing with our lives, and that's ultimately just not fulfilling. But that also means that like we have to be able to do some things not greatly. But then who's the consumer of the not greatly stuff? Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to exchange bad poetry zines? I don't really know that I want to write about poetry zine. It was just like this upwelling of emotion in the moment. It was just like really intense. It was just very there. I'm sure that if I sat down to write the bad poetry zine, I'd be like, no, that's not what I want to do. But maybe I just need to be forced to do it. I don't know. What? Right? Are you with me? I feel like some of you are. Some of you are like, sister, move on. That's okay. You can fast forward. It's okay. You don't, I promise I will not make you come to my poetry reading. But some of you, by the way, I don't even read poetry, so I know that I can't write poetry. I know. I know. Okay, here's my quilt. So I've been working on a quilt for my table for Christmassy times. So this is fabric from Corey Yoder's Holliberry line. This is, and I used Moda's, cake mix layer paper thingies. And basically this one is, I think it's number 4. It just makes half square triangles. And like, these are actually kind of bigger half square triangles than again, everything's an experiment for me because I'm just a new quilter person. So in the future, these are bigger half square triangles than I would necessarily normally use, or at least right on the line of like what I would consider to be too big for me personally. But that's just something I'm learning about, right? So it basically makes for 2 10-inch squares. So you use you can use whatever 2 you want, but I used 1 square of the print and 1 square of just white. And it makes 8, and you can either finish them to like 3 3/4 or 4 1/4 or something like that. I don't remember. I chose the smaller of the 2. And so in my case, I decided to put 4, so 2 finished 10-inch squares combination. So 4 10-inch squares together to make these bigger star blocks. So you can combine the half square triangles whichever way you want. It just gives you half square triangles. So like, there's a million different ways you can combine half square triangles. And in fact, after I had, of course, sewn them all together, I was like, maybe I should just done pinwheels or something, because these are a little bit crazy. But at the same time, I had it in my head that I want to do starsy things because that feels Christmassy. So here it is. Whee! It's fun because it's Christmassy, but it also has grays and taupes in it, which I really enjoy. It's actually maybe a little fancy for me, but that's okay. I still like it. So, of course, I still need to make the quilt sandwich. I need to quilt it. I think I'm going to use this as backing because I have it in my possession. And I like it enough that I could flip it and just use this as the tablecloth as well. I continue to like the triangle papers though. Theirs are very nice to use. It makes everything very easy to match up. You don't have to worry about like there's a million different ways to make half square triangles, by the way. Of course. And lots of them, like some of them you sew around the squares so that you don't have to worry as much about the squares biasing. But that's one of the nice things about using a paper piecing is that the biasing is not an issue, so they stay nice and square. But that makes all the points line up very nicely, which is very satisfying, especially in these times. So when everything feels super out of control, it's nice when your points line up. So true. So true. So true. But mainly one of the things I like about that whole, it's not something I'm going to continue to use forever. I bought several of them when they were on like a very good sale when I first started quilting, because again, I don't know how to like stick my toe into something. I just jump in. But I don't regret it. It's not something I don't necessarily think it's something I will continue to do, because I don't think I will continue to buy like, I don't think I'll necessarily continue to buy like a pack of pre-cuts, because I do like the thought of exploring like more textures and stuff in quilts, and having a little bit more options that way. But I do really appreciate many things about this, especially for learning. So I have enjoyed using those layer cakes. So that's the 10-inch cut pieces. Different companies call them different things. Some call them like tit carrots or whatever. They're 10-inch pre-cut squares. But I really love that I don't have to like, I can just sew them and then cut them out. I don't have to like cut the pieces, sew them, and then trim them. Like, it saves a nice step. It's tidy, it's compact. There's lots of great things about it, especially for a beginner. So that's turned out really, I think I'm going to really like it once it's quilted. My initial reaction when it gets to this stage, I have learned, is usually like, that's too fancy looking. But usually once I get it quilted, I feel like, okay, that's better now. Because the quilting makes it get all crinkly and more homey looking. So there is that. Okay, so I finished my Selbu socks. So I took the Selbu sock knitting course by Patricia, who is P4Chin on Instagram, and I finished. I actually finished colorwork socks for myself, and they fit. I mean, let's just all take a second. Are we just going to sit in this for a second? I'm pretty proud. Right. So, I used Relma. This is a 2-ply that is suggested for socks. This is what she suggested in her coursework. And I used these 2 colors. And I have quite a bit of yarn left. Definitely not enough to make another pair of socks or anything like that. But maybe to make some, definitely enough to make gnome jackets and breeches. I'm just saying. For sure. I knit my socks on a US 1.5, but I did it my toes, my cuffs, and my heels. So any place that was solid, not stranded, I knit on 0s, because that's what I knit my regular socks on. And when I started to knit my heels on the 1.5s, and they were way too loose. So I mean, that makes sense, right? Because your stranded knitting tends to be a little bit tighter. Again, everybody's different, but especially for me, it's definitely tighter than my regular knitting. Oh, and then there's the secret on the bottom, the secret message. Right. How fun. And I'm so proud of myself because I actually did it on both of them. I was like, I'm just not going to do it on the second one. I mean, I did what I was supposed to do, and on the second one, I'm just not going to do it. Because following a pattern for the one side is one thing, but following a pattern for 2 sides is like totally different. But I did it anyway. I did it. I'm so good. Right. My little stulpa, my little pole thing on the side looks really good. Right. I mean, I have short cuffs. I don't like a long cuff on my sock. I mean, how cute are they? And they're not superwash, and there's no nylon, but I'm kind of getting to the place where I can't believe I'm going to say this. I did make mine just a little bit longer than I normally make my socks, just to account for, even though they'll end up in the washing machine, I'm sure. I don't ever dry my socks in the dryer, except by accident. But, just to account for a little bit of felting just through wear and through wash, I made them a little bit longer than normal. What was I going to say? So these are for me, and I love them, and I hope I enjoyed making them so much. Okay, full disclosure, I did not really enjoy making the secret message. I just wanted to do the every other stitch because it's so much. I didn't want to look at the pattern, but I still enjoyed it. And I think I'm going to make myself some more. I enjoyed it. I can't believe it. I'm starting to be a person who likes to make fancy socks. It's not even that. It's like I'm a person who's not enjoying making regular socks. How about that? How fancy am I? I'm the fanciest. Speaking of fancy socks, I also picked up my Pebbles and Pathways, which is a pattern by Hey Brownberry, who is Marceline. What's your last name in the real world? I reject the real world. She's Hey Brownberry. So it's a toe-up sock pattern, and I'm knitting mine in Quince & Company. Is it Sparrow? Do you need to go upstairs?
No, I just thought it was funny.
Oh.
I know.
I don't know where we were. So it's a toe-up sock. Did I say? Okay. I knit mine with Quince & Company Chickadee, which is the sport weight. The pattern is written for fingering weight, but I have a wider foot, and the pattern is, I think, 64. But I'm pretty sure she tells you like how to knit it for larger circumference. But again, I was trying to practice with using some non-nylon based socks. So yeah, isn't it pretty? So this is the honey colorway because it's the best. Yeah, it's the best Quince & Company colorway. I'll fight you. Not really, but I will. Again, short cuff because that's what I like. Socks for me. Socks for me. There's one completed and one that's almost completed. The heel is done and I just need to finish up on the cuff. And what am I knitting these on? So sport weight on US 1 2.25 millimeters. So yes, enjoying that. And then the only other thing I've been working on, I need to get a crochet project going. That's all there is to it. I think I'm going to turn my Marled Mania sweater. I just don't think I'm going to wear that sweater. I didn't, by the way, I've not knit on anything but the collar. So I mean, when I say I'm going to turn my Marled Mania sweater, I mean like I'm going to turn the bag of yarn that I put aside to make my Marled Mania sweater with. I think I should turn that into another crocheted cardigan because so far I have really worn my little crocheted cardigan quite a bit. I've actually worn it in the house quite a bit more than I've worn any of my other cardigans because it feels sturdy. I think it feels sturdier to me, and so I'm more likely to wear it in the house. But anyway, so I think I'm going to take that bag of just like all blues and brown yarns, and maybe I'm just going to turn it into like another crochet granny strip cardigan. I think I should do that. Because I do really enjoy having a fingering weight crochet project going. It's very enjoyable. To untangle my project. So then the last thing I have to show you is just another pair of rag socks. These are for my little grandpa. Ooh, they were horribly tangled. And I tell you what, I love him to pieces, but I am having trouble working on these socks. I don't know what it is. Maybe I just need to watch something more interesting on the televisions or get a really interesting book going or something. I'm having trouble focusing on these little guys. But again, they're just, I wanted to make them like bed socks. So they are one skein of the West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply, held along with some opal, because they needed to be machine washable. And then I am knitting them on a US 3. Cuff down, longer cuff. Just a 2x2 rib on the cuff and then on the top of the foot. So yeah, just a plain old sock. They should go super fast, right? They're only like a 48 stitch sock. I should be zooming done, but I just am having trouble focusing, getting them done. It's like every time I pick them up, I knit like a row or two, and then I get distracted by the internets. Got to figure out a way to focus on these guys and get done. Maybe I need to put like a progress marker on them and knit. Maybe that's what I should do, is like put a progress on the marker on them and knit 2 inches and then do something else. That's maybe what I should do. Because I love my little Pebble so much. And he likes warm feet, but I just am having trouble focusing for some reason. So yeah, that's all of my knitting. It's not a lot. Whatever, I did a bunch of quilting and things and such. So then, shameless self-promotion. I did a little switch up. So I have some bags in the shop right now. Oh, I'm so sorry. If you don't want to watch, skip ahead or turn it off. I'm going to have some sewn to order. I have some sewn to order bags in the shop right now. They were scheduled to ship. I mean, if you've already ordered, you're golden. They'll ship out on the 18th. But if you haven't ordered and you want to order, I've moved the date ahead, just so that there isn't an expectation that they will get there if you're ordering for a Christmas gift or a solstice gift, or like if you're ordering for a specific time, because our lovely U.S. Postal Service is running with significant delays, and I don't want anybody to be thinking that it'll get there when it won't. So I'm just going to put on there that I will ship them out by the end of the year, and then they'll get there when they get there. I was going to just say, hey, we'll just turn it off until the first of the year, but I understand if you were thinking you were going to get one, but then you forgot or whatever. This way, kind of like, if you do want one, they're there. If you don't, whatever. Yeah, no, whatever. I don't know what to do sometimes. We still need groceries. So that's what we're going to do. And what they are is, I don't have a sample shown to you, but this is my bag that I made for myself. This one is this one's probably about 18 months old. So there is the black colorway that's out there. And you'll see this is it the Can Knits Tradition? So it's like stitched over with a running stitch of embroidery floss, and you can kind of see, woo, it's definitely imperfect. Like, you'll have places where you'll get loose ends that come up, and like if you're carrying it around a lot, it'll pick. Like, you'll definitely catch. So if that's something that bothers you, don't get this bag. I'm gonna do some sewn to order stuff in the first of the year. I'm hoping to do some really cozy stuff. I have plans to do some more kind of buckety bags with leather handles in a couple of cozy prints. That's my intention. If I can, I'm going to make the brain space to do that. It doesn't seem like it would be hard to make the brain space to switch over to a different product. Somehow it is. For me, challenging to make that brain space. But I do want to add that because I would like to do that. Anyway, so definitely, I mean, if you are a person that's something that bothers you, this would not work for you. But I love the texture and I really enjoy it, and it has a really good feel. It's sort of like almost like a double gauze kind of a texture, but then quilted on top of it. So there's a black colorway, and there's a teal, and there is like kind of a cool gray. It's definitely a cool gray. They just have a nice feel to them. And they are definitely a softer bag. They're not like usually for this size, this is an Aran sweater. So this is the size that holds a sweater for me. I'm a big lady. This holds a sweater for me. It holds like a blanket project. It's also like a great thing if you just like have your knitting on your couch, whatever, you just shove a bunch of other smaller projects in here. It's like kind of like a good catch-all. So it's just kind of a good bottomless bag of holding. quite frankly. It will not hold your full library. I apologize. You are magic spells not included. Ding. But anyway, so most of my larger bags are made of a denim, and so I mean they're fabric obviously, but they're not as soft. You know what I mean? Like this again, with it being like a double gauze, it or something similar to double gauze. It's definitely collapsible. That said, it doesn't as easily stand up on its own. But yeah, I feel like that's a lot of me talking. Okay. Okay. I hope that, oh my goodness, what do I hope for you? I should get a good headspace to hope for you. Let me get in a good headspace to hope for you. I hope that you feel a connection to all of us with your knitting this week at some time, for spinning, or your crochet, or your wool. I hope at some time this week, when you touch that fiber, you know that we are feeling that same thing. And that whatever our life looks like at this moment, whatever our surroundings look like at this moment, whatever our mindscape looks like at this moment, that we have this common moment of touch that we are sharing. And I hope that that brings you peace in that moment. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.